Saladin's conquest of the castle of Kerak in the 12th century. The Crusader states in the Holy Land were fortified by numerous strongholds that served as key military outposts. One of the most famous and strategically important castles was the Castle of Karak, located in modern-day Jordan. The castle was a powerful Crusader stronghold in the Kingdom of Jerusalem, and its position along the main trade routes between Syria and Egypt made it a critical asset for the Crusaders. The Castle of Karak had long been a symbol of Crusader control over the region. It was built during the 12th century by Crusader knights and was part of the larger system of fortresses that protected the Crusader states. The Lord of Kerak at the time of Saladin's campaign was Raymond of Kerak, a prominent Crusader leader. However, as Saladin, the Sultan of Egypt and Syria rose to power and united the Muslim world, the Crusader states were becoming increasingly vulnerable. Saladin was determined to reclaim all the lands taken by the Crusaders, including the fortified castles they held. The context of the conquest. By the year 1183, Saladin had already achieved significant successes in the Holy Land, including the recapture of cities like Acre and Nazarite, as well as Jerusalem in 1187. He now focused on displacing Crusaders from their strongholds in the southern regions, including the Castle of Karak, which was located at the heart of the Crusader kingdom. The Castle of Karak was a significant military target for Saladin, as it controlled the trade routes and served as a key stronghold for Crusader operations. Raymond of Karak and his men had resisted Muslim forces for years, and their control of the castle was an obstacle to Saladin's ultimate goal of liberating the entire region from Crusader rule. The Siege of Kerak. In 1188, after his success in taking Jerusalem and other Crusader territories, Saladin turned his attention to the Crusader-held fortresses in the region. The Castle of Karak was among the most important remaining strongholds, and Saladin was determined to end Crusader resistance there once and for all. Saladin laid siege to Karak in 1188, and the Crusaders inside the castle prepared for a long and grueling defense. The siege was a difficult and strategic operation, as Karak was well fortified, sitting atop a hill with impressive walls and a large garrison of Crusader knights. The defenders, led by Raymond, had supplies that would allow them to hold out for an extended period. Despite the difficult terrain and the strong defenses of the castle, Saladin's forces were resolute. They surrounded the castle and began their siege, using catapults and other siege equipment to attempt to breach the walls. For several months, the battle for Karak was fierce, with the Crusaders inside making frequent sorties to try and break the siege. Saladin knew that capturing the castle was essential to his strategy of weakening the Crusader foothold in the region. He took a methodical approach, cutting off the defenders' access to water and supplies, which would gradually weaken their ability to resist. The fall of Karak. After months of intense siege, the Crusaders inside the castle were running out of resources. Saladin's forces had effectively cut off the supply routes and continued to apply pressure. Eventually, the defenders of the castle realized they could not hold out any longer. Raymond of Karak, recognizing the futility of continuing the fight, offered to surrender the castle to Saladin in exchange for safe passage for the knights and the civilian population inside. In 1189, after a prolonged and costly siege, the Crusader defenders of Karak surrendered to Saladin's forces. In a show of his honor and generosity, Saladin allowed the Crusaders to leave the castle peacefully, ensuring their safe retreat. Saladin's treatment of the defeated defenders was a clear example of his famous chivalry and his respect for the rules of war, which won him admiration even from his enemies. Aftermath and importance of the conquest. The capture of Kerak marked a significant step in Saladin's conquest of Crusader strongholds in the Holy Land. With Karak in his hands, Saladin had effectively dismantled the Crusaders' ability to control the southern Levant. It allowed him to consolidate power in the region and continued to pave the way for the eventual Muslim control over nearly all the Crusader-held lands in the Holy Land. The fall of Karak was also a blow to the Crusader morale, as it was one of their last major fortresses in the region. This victory, along with his earlier successes, significantly weakened the Crusader kingdom of Jerusalem and hastened its collapse. Saladin's conquest of the castle of Karak was a symbolic victory as well as a practical one. It demonstrated his military genius, his ability to outlast his enemies in long sieges, and his skill at unifying the Muslim world against the Crusaders. It was another crucial chapter in Saladin's campaign to reclaim the Holy Land for the Muslims. Legacy of the conquest, the fall of Karak under Saladin's leadership was not just a military victory. It represented the end of Crusader control over a significant part of the Levant. It marked the gradual dismantling of the Crusader states and strengthened Saladin's reputation as one of history's greatest military leaders. Moreover, his handling of the surrender and his commitment to honor and mercy made him a revered figure in both the Muslim and Christian worlds. His fair treatment of the Crusader defenders of Kerak stood in stark contrast to the harsh and often brutal treatment the Crusaders had shown to Muslims in previous sieges. Today, the castle of Karak remains a significant historical site, standing as a testament to the military struggles and the battles fought for control of the Holy Land during the Crusades. Saladin's Conquest of Kerak remains an important moment in the story of his campaign against the Crusaders and his efforts to reclaim Jerusalem and the surrounding territories. In conclusion, Saladin's siege and conquest of Kerak was a crucial moment in the struggle for the Holy Land. It showcased his strategic genius, his ability to handle both military and diplomatic challenges, and his commitment to justice and honor. The fall of Karak further solidified his reputation and helped pave the way for his final victories over the Crusaders. Would you like to learn more about Saladin's other campaigns or his leadership during the Crusades?